All right, so let's talk about Git commands. So as you can see on my screen, I got two terminals. On the left-hand side, what I got is your cold fit application on the upstream. Yeah? You know, you are not supposed to send data to the upstream directly. You always have to do a pull request. Just for testing purposes, I would like to shortcut the process by introducing a silly change into the upstream. On the right hand side, you can see my personal version of ColdFit. You see, guys, the directory is different. Yeah. So I got slash ColdFit. That's the upstream. On the right hand side, I got slash forks slash ColdFit. Yeah. So the one on the left is the official repo. The one on the right is my personal repo. So the plan is I'm going to do a change on the official repo. Then I would like to do a similar change on my personal repo. So I create a conflict. I want to create a conflict. Conflict means two people change the same thing somehow. So I want to share how can you deal with this sort of problems. Yeah, that's pretty much the idea. So right, let me think about the best way to do that. Imagine that I do a silly change on your personal repo. So actually, I'm going to use a command line editor because I'm just going to add an exclamation mark somewhere. So I don't want to use I'm not going to open Visual Studio for now. So I think you got the title. Yeah, that was on the landing page, if I'm right. Okay, so that's correct. Actually, so you can see I'm opening your landing page using a command line editor because I don't want to open VS Code. And imagine that on your first title, train and feel better together. Imagine that I add an exclamation mark. Yeah, you see, I just add an exclamation mark. So then by the way, this code editor is called V. In case you heard about it, VI. So when you open a file using V, then you can edit it and then you can save it typing colon WQ. You don't need to know these things actually, but yes, if you are curious. Yeah? So now in theory, that file has been changed. So the first command, how do I know if what sort of changes do I have in my workspace? Of course, VS Code offers you some very nice user interface utilities, but it goes without saying that from the command line, you can deal with them. Actually, the graphic user interface utilities offered by VS Code are just a wrapper on top of the command line plugins or commands, if you want. So first of all, if I type git status, you see git status will tell me which files I have modified since the last time I I commit and push essentially. Yeah. So modify that file, whatever. If I want to get more details, all right, I've modified that file, but to be more precise, can you tell me the exact differences? You know, the diff VS Code where you can see side by side the differences. So you can actually deal with the same mechanism from the command line. So if I type git diff, then you see it's pretty much the same thing, but now it's going one step further. So it's now telling me in red color how the code looked like on my last commit or on the upstream if you want, and then you see in green color we can see the change. Yeah? So it's a very visual way to quickly identify the changes we are about to commit. If because of whatever reason we regret from the changes, imagine that you realize, oh, that wasn't a good idea. There is a way to remove everything you've done since the last commit. So if you type git checkout dot, that should remove everything you've done since the last commit. So if I type git diff or git status, you see nothing to commit, working tree clean. That means that, hey, I've done nothing because I've reverted all the changes I got ready to be committed. Yeah. So obviously now if I want to introduce them again, I need to edit the file again. So that won't take long. So I go to the main title. I add the exclamation mark again because I changed my mind once again and I realized that I really want to introduce these changes. So git status, I should have one file. Here it is, the landing page. then git diff. Let me get a closer eye about what they changed. Okay, I added an exclamation mark. Brilliant. So remember now we need to do commit and push. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yes. What you mean the staging area means the changes that have been added already? That's a good question. I'm not sure, but we can actually figure out. So if I type, so that's what I wanted to say next. So when you want to commit and push, you yeah from VS Code you do commit and then you do push. But in reality, first of all, we need to add the changes, and that's the first step. That VS Code is running for us automatically. So when you do git add dot, so this is essentially tracking or staging, as Adam said, all the changes into to be ready to be committed. Yeah? That's a step that VS Code does for us automatically. But if we don't have VS Code, if we have the command line, we need to do it for us. So let me once again do git status. You see, guys, probably you notice that before git status reported that we changed the file, but you see the coloring, guys, is red. Is red, and look at that message. Changes not staged for commit, because these changes were not added yet to the commit. However, now the same command tells that the same file has changed. Obviously, we don't get that error, that message anymore. Like the changes. Look, let me show you the message again. The message says changes not staged for commit. Actually, Git was already indicating us how to deal with them. And now you can see that the files have been already added to be committed. Back to your question, Adam. Apparently, if I do git checkout dot, it's not gonna revert them. It's not gonna revert them because look, before I missed that message, it says changes not staged for commit, and then it said, okay, if you want to stage them, git add. If you want to discard them, git checkout. Yeah. So we had both options. Apparently, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm 80% sure if I do git checkout dot, nothing will change actually. So if I do git status, you see, nothing has changed. Nothing has changed because the file has been already staged. What happens if now we want to change our mind? We need to run another command, which is git reset. So this is another way to roll back something that has been already staged. Yeah. Obviously, there are hundreds of Git commands. I'm not going to cover them all, of course not. There is a very good book about Git. It's almost 700 pages if it helps you to get a feeling about the size of Git. Yeah, but for now, got the file already staged, and that means it's ready to be committed. So how do we commit it? So we need to type git commit, and then generally speaking, we set a message. Yeah, that's the text you type on your commit title. So remarking the app title by adding an exclamation mark, something like that. Remarking the title by an exclamation mark. So you press enter. So now, if I type git status, you see, nothing to commit, working tree clean, because the file has been already committed. So there is nothing pending to be committed at all. But my question is, are my changes already incorporated into the upstream? Yes or no, and why? Correct, that's correct. I haven't pushed, right? So finally, if I type git push, you see, pushing. Now this is actually making my changes available. So now let me show you a couple of things. So first of all, if I go to GitHub, I'll show you in a second, guys. I'm trying to bring that tab. So where is my Google Chrome? Yeah. So if I, oh god, sorry, it's a bit slow as you already know. But if I go to the upstream, in theory, I should have these changes. You see, guys, 1 minute ago, remarking the app title by adding an exclamation mark. So definitely my changes have been have been incorporated into the upstream. The next question is, are these changes part of now? That's a completely separate question. I'm not sure. I'm just checking on a background tab. No, the changes haven't been incorporated to now. Cannot tell you why, to be honest, because that's a completely different discussion, guys. So I don't want to mix things. Yeah? In theory, I was expecting my exclamation mark now to be part of now, but it's not. It's not. So, well, anyway, that's a different discussion. At least the changes are on GitHub, right? That's the important thing for now. All right. So now I'm changing. I'm changing the role. I'm not that person anymore. I'm someone else in your team. I could be Adam, Ian, Minji, Dan, Panos, Brima, whoever. Yeah, I'm one of you. And imagine that. Imagine that I forgot to merge from the upstream. Do you remember, guys? I told you you should always run a series of commands every single minute. Well, so that's an exaggeration, but I hope you get my point. So git sync in a fork. So if you follow these steps, everything should be fine the majority of the time. But what happens if you don't follow these steps? Let me sink the boat somehow. So I'm not going to synchronize from the upstream. I'm just gonna open the project now with VS Code. You see, I'm opening my fork with VS Code, and I will let me try to start the server. Npm start. Hopefully, you see this is your code feed app. You see, I don't have the exclamation mark here because I didn't merge from the upstream, and I'm going to ignore that. So I'm gonna add the different chains. You see, for instance, a happy face. Eventually, I'm gonna have a problem. I'm gonna have a problem because two of us have changed the same line. Yeah, someone added an exclamation mark. However, someone else, in this particular case myself, added a happy face. We will have a conflict because the other person merged into the upstream first. He or she has preference. In other words, that person is fine. However, me, I will have a problem. I won't be able to create a pull request that easily because GitHub will tell me, hey, there is something wrong. Yeah? There is something wrong because you both try to change the same file at the same time. Yeah, I'm trying to start a server. Unsurprisingly, this is taking longer than usual. Of course, now being a regular developer, so I can go to the changes tab and I can perform a more high-level review of my changes. As you can see on the left-hand side, you got the original title. On the right-hand side, I got my change. So once you are happy with that, you update the title and you said adding a smiley face to the app title. Ideally, obviously, goes without saying, you should test your changes before you commit and push, right? That's absolutely fundamental. Here you go. I think finally the web browser is rendering. So if you give me 1 second, I would like just to follow the formal process. Yeah. So now I go to my fork. Remember, guys, I'm working on my fork, and then you see I got the happy face. This is my change, right? So yeah, that looks good to me. It goes without saying, guys, feel free to remove these things afterwards. Yeah, this is just for testing purposes. Let me stop the server. I don't need it anymore. So I'm happy with the change. Then I commit it, and then I push it. So now let me check. It's taking a while to push, but I hope that should work. Yeah, it shouldn't take that long. Let me check on the command line. That's a bit weird, right? It's taking unless it's still. It looks like there is something, it's stuck somewhere. All right, so let me do git status. There should be nothing on it because I already commit my changes. By the way, guys, another interesting command is if you want to see the history of commits, you can type git log, and then you can see the sequence of commands. So you see the last thing I did yesterday. Yesterday, yesterday evening, I merged from the, I merged from the upstream. And now, a few minutes ago, I added a new commit. So here you can go, if you press a space, you go back in time by blocks. If you want to quit that view, you type Q, and then you finish the process. Yeah, I think VS Code is stuck. You see, it's still trying to push, which doesn't make any sense. So let me try to push from the command line to see if there is any error. Let me try again. Git push. And then let me see what happened. That's interesting because now Git is stuck. Yeah, so that's not gonna help for sure. What the hell is going on? Let me check on my. Right, let me see what's going on. So so if you want to see all the remotes, so that means where your code is gonna be deployed. So you see that looks correct to me because I want to deploy to my personal project, to my fork essentially. So let me type git push. You can specify, even though that should happen automatically, just in case, you can specify where you want to push it. Origin, that means my fork, yeah. And finally the branch, I want to push the change to master. And yeah, now you see this is broken, right, guys? That was unexpected. I wanted to break my app, but not that much. I don't know why I'm not even able to push. Let me check on my. It's probably because VS Code is trying to push, so it's locking the process. Maybe. To be honest, I don't know. In theory, I'm not expecting my changes to be on my fork. Let me sign in with my personal account. So, and let me see if my changes got deployed to the cloud or not. So, hold on a second. So this is my fork. No, that's not my fork, sorry, that's the upstream. That's a bit confusing. Be careful, guys. You see, this is the upstream of my Codery, and this is my personal fork. You can see it said updated 15 hours ago. That means that obviously my changes didn't go through, right? Why? I don't know. Let me quickly Google. Yeah, that was unexpected. That wasn't planned. Git push stuck. See if I can get any relevant information about the problem. Hangs when pushing to GitHub. Yes, that's my problem. Thank you. And then what does it say? Git push, blah 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 blah. Yeah. And then Aspas is all for me. 3 seconds to problem per. All right, I have no idea what that means. Actually, I've never seen that. Git config global core askpass git GUI askpass. Not sure if this is forcing GitHub to ask for credentials because I wanted to introduce my user and my password actually. So maybe that will refresh the cache or something like that. I don't know. To be honest, guys, I have no idea what's going on at the moment. So let me just follow Stack Overflow guidelines. So git config global core askpass, blah, blah, blah. And now git push. No, nothing is happening. So the next thing I would like to do is I would like to, let me check again the remotes, git remote -v. You see, I was using HTTPS because when you have a remote with HTTPS, you have to introduce your credentials every time. Apparently this is not working at the moment. So let me do something. Let me remove the origin and let me add it again using SSH instead of HTTPS. So git remote remove origin. So now if we type the list of remotes, you see, I cannot push my changes to my fork anymore because I don't have it here. So then back to my GitHub account. I will add the remote again. So I click on clone or download on my fork, guys, on my fork. I will use SSH this time just to see if that any helps. And then git, I will add it again. Git remote add origin, which is my fork, and then, oh, what did I paste? Maybe I didn't copy it. What did I copy? I think I copied. Let me try again. Origin. Yeah, you see, git remote add origin, and then the location of my fork. Enter. So now git push. Okay, that looks hopefully better this time. Now I got an error. I think it's much. You agree with me? It's much better to get errors than just a weird loading screen. It's telling me, yeah, it's the first time you are trying to push to that new remote. Please type that command, yeah, to complete the process. So that's the way we're essentially finishing the process of pushing our stuff to our fork. Let's see if that works, guys. Fingers crossed. Yes, 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 yes. You see? So now at least, all right. It tried to push something. It didn't work. It got rejected. That's interesting. That's interesting. That wasn't expected neither. But hey, look, at least it tried to push something. So whenever you got that type of errors, remote rejected, blah blah blah, error failed to push, blah 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 blah. So that's either a credentials problem or that's something about pulling first. So let's start simple. So let me do git pull first. And then, all right, git pull origin master, whatever. And then git push, then git push set upstream origin master. It's trying to push again. Yeah, and you see I got an error permission denied, and the reason why I got this error, that's because now Git is using my primary account but instead of the secondary account, and the primary account doesn't have permissions on that account. Yeah, that's not ideal. That's not ideal. It's not that complicated, guys, for you because you have a single account. I got multiple accounts, and that makes everything a bit more complicated. So let me do something. Let me remove the remote again. Git remote remove origin. I will try. My plan is back to my original plan. I would like to use HTTPS because if I use HTTPS in theory, every time I commit, Git will ask me, "Hey, who are you?" And I will be able to introduce my user and password with HTTPS. With SSH, that doesn't happen because SSH uses your key. Not sure if you remember before the bootcamp started, guys, you created an SSH key, right? So HTTPS allows you to deal with multiple accounts easily, in theory. So git remote add origin, and I will paste the HTTPS account. So now if I type git remote -v, you see? So now I got my HTTPS account. So now let me see if I can push. So git push origin master from the command line. Yeah, it's stacked. Yeah. So Git is definitely, there is something wrong with Git because I should get a prompt to enter my credentials. Not sure if it is actually asking me anything. Probably not, right? No, it's just stuck. Let me go back to. Oh, what the hell? That's a bit weird. Figured I was using certain connections. Oh. Um, Yeah, I have no idea what the hell that is. Let me try. I'm now, guys. At the moment, I'm completely blind. I have no idea what's going on. So I will try a few things, and if none of them work, I don't know. Maybe I may have to restart my laptop or something like that. See, VS Code is completely stuck. Let me try to actually close VS Code because maybe, I don't know, it's locking down the process or something like that. Yeah, I'm not very optimistic about that, to be honest. No, 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 no. Not working, not working. So let me try to find a different source of information. So git push, blah, 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 blah. Stack the pre-push commit hook. No, that's nothing to do with my problem. That's a bit weird. Um, mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm. 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 If none of that works, I will change the approach because I don't want to spend 40 minutes dealing with the problem. Because that problem is a bit artificial. This is happening because I got multiple GitHub accounts set up locally. Let me do something. I'm gonna grant myself access on my secondary account so I can push to my fork from any account. That's pretty much what I wanna do. So let me actually, so this is my fork. So let me go to settings and then let me grant permissions to myself. So hopefully, that will solve the problem, even though that's not ideal. Yeah, I just want to unlock this step, you see? So I'm inviting my first account from my secondary one. Let me copy the invite link. So from my primary account, let me accept the invitation. So yeah, I want to accept the invitation. So now in theory, I can push, you see, you have push access to the secondary account. So if that's the case, now in theory, I should be able to push again. So let me remove the remove origin. Let me add it again, remove, add origin, and then I will use the not remove, sorry, git remote add origin, git remote -v. So you see now I'm using the git setup to push to origin, and because I got the SSH key, in theory, I should be able to push to the fork using my primary account. Let's have a look. Pushing. Yes, so now it looks like it worked fine. Yeah, that's that's a bit confusing. Once again, that's the reason why I wasn't a big fan of this type of workshop, because I'm making it more difficult than it is in reality. In reality, you don't have multiple GitHub accounts. Anyway, regardless of what the approach is, I'm in the position I wanted to be, and the position is I have changed the upstream, and at the same time I have changed my fork. So as soon as I try to create a pull request, I will hopefully have a conflict. I will have a problem. Is everybody following the problem, guys? Are you at least in sync with what the situation is at the moment? Yes. Yes, in my fork I have a smiley face. Yeah? So I imagine that again I forgot to merge from the upstream. So I have no idea. I'm not aware anybody added an exclamation mark a few minutes ago. So I just added a smiley face. So let's create a pull request as usual. Yeah. So from the secondary account, to keep it as much consistent as possible, new pull request, and then look, can't automatically merge. Okay? I still, technically speaking, I can create a pull request, but guys, whenever you got that message, don't go ahead. Don't create a pull request. There is no point, right? The thing is, you are trying to create a pull request that will cause a conflict. So once again, the sooner you detect the problem, the easier it will be to fix. So whenever you got that problem, and trust me, it's just a matter of time, you get a problem like that, then next step is just follow the async in a fork document I shared with you on the last week. Yeah? It's not gonna be that easy this time, but hey, let's just follow the steps and we'll take an action when necessary. So I'm on the right hand side. I realize there is a conflict. I still don't know what the problem is about. I still don't know. I'm not aware someone added an exclamation mark, but I know there is a problem. Because I know there is a problem, then let's follow the steps. So the first step was git fetch upstream. So that will synchronize all the metadata and everything. That's not going to create any problems. This is metadata, fine. Next step is make sure you are working with master. I know, I'm working with master. But anyways, let's just run it. So git checkout master. already on master. And now this is where the problem is, guys. Here is where you are gonna start suffering a lot. Step number 5, merge the changes from the upstream master. Here is where Git will try to synchronize, or to merge, to be more precise, technically speaking, will try to merge my changes with the changes on the upstream. And that's gonna cause me a problem. This is gonna generate a conflict of interest. Who is right? Is it the upstream, or however, is it the fork? Is it my code? Look, git fetch upstream / master. Pay attention to the terminal. What the hell? Upstream masters. Oh, so let me check the remote. I think I did the upstream. Did type something wrong? Upstream, git fetch. Sorry, not fetch. Sorry, not fetch. Sorry, guys. Merge. Yeah, I missed the documentation. That was a typo. Git merge upstream master, not fetch. All right, git merge upstream master. Now pay attention, guys. Look, that's exactly what I wanted to do. Yeah, conflict. That's the key word, conflict. Whenever you get that word conflict, that means you have a problem, right? So merge conflict in blah, 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 in landing page. You see, at least Git is pointing me to the file where the conflict is. So even though, technically speaking, we can deal with conflicts from the command line, I would like to use VS Code because, I don't know, I find this is particularly convenient here to deal with problems. So I used to have a VS Code open, right? Did I close it? Yeah, I think I closed it. So let me open it again. So let me try to find a way to bring VS Code here. So if you hold on a second with me, eventually I'll be able to bring my VS Code. Here we go. Here's my VS Code. It just took me ages, right? So let me keep the GitHub tab with the pull request open. But now, look what happened when I open my ColdFit application and I go to the Git tab. I will see probably some problems, as you will see in a second. So I got an error saying no source control. Sorry, that was just a bit slow. Look what happened. You see, I got a list of stage changes. So stage changes are the changes that have been added automatically by VS Code. So these are the changes that someone else has submitted. I have no idea who did that. I'm sure someone, any of you did that recently, right? In the last 12 hours, but that's fine. Yeah, I'm just trying to synchronize with your changes on the upstream. That's fine. However, look at the landing page. The landing page change is not a stage, and it's not a stage because there is a conflict. You see, C means conflict. We need to take an action, a manual action. So let's inspect the details of the conflict. When I click on it, you see, that's pretty cool, right? So VS Code has a visual tool to spot where the conflict is. So you see, on the left-hand side, you got the current change. So that means, hey, this is what I've done, right? You remember, I'm on my fork. I added a happy face. However, now someone else added an exclamation mark. You see the problem, guys. There is a conflict. Which token is the valid one? We need to take a decision. And unfortunately, software cannot help us because it's A or B. Which one wins? I don't know. This is where now we need to take a manual action. So if I were you, I don't know. Sometimes reading the code, maybe you realize that, all right, someone else did that. I want to accept their changes. Imagine that, however, for instance, your team agreed on using the smiley face. Then if your team agreed on using the smiley face, that's the right version. If you are not sure, because that happens sometimes, right? The team didn't agree on anything, just by by coincidence you change the same line, what I will do is I will go to the upstream, whatever it is. Here is my upstream. I will check my list of commits, and I will see that someone else, which once again this is myself with the other account, someone else did the change. So obviously I will have a chat with that person like, hey, oh, so unfortunately we both changed the same line, and then we'll have a human discussion about what do we want to do regarding this change. Imagine that I have a chat with that person and we all agree that the smiley face is actually better than the exclamation mark. So how do I accept my changes? The only thing we need to do is to click here on the accept current change. If on the other way around, we wanted to accept the incoming change, yeah, we wanted to accept what we have in the upstream, we will just click on the accept incoming. Yeah. So yeah, that's up to you to decide which alternative you want to keep. So let's once, as I said, let's assume we want to keep the current changes. So let me click on accept current. You see now my code, because I accepted my current change, is essentially discarding the exclamation mark. What else do we need to do? So once we are done with the change, we need to add it. We need to stage it. Yeah. Once again, VS Code will try its best to stage changes. However, when there is a conflict, this is not happening out of the box. So we have to either from the command line stage it, git add dot, or git add and the name of the file, or you can stage files directly with VS Code. You see, pressing on the plus icon, stage changes. So you click on it, and then all the changes are ready to be committed and pushed. You may have noticed that also you got some sort of default commit message. So this is propagated automatically by Git whenever there is, a merge process. Of course, you can change it if you want, but I'm not gonna change it. If Git has generated that, that's fine with me. So let me click on the commit message on the commit button, and now push. So once I do that, in theory, I should be able to create a pull request because I have solved the conflict. So let me refresh the page. Sometimes GitHub refreshes the page automatically, sometimes it doesn't. And now, boom, you see, able to merge, because now Git understands that I managed to solve the conflict. And of course, here you see, now look at the direction of the pull request. So this is what we have in the upstream at the moment, which is correct. And on the right hand side, that's what we want to have next. Yeah. So yeah, that's fine. Remember, guys, I'm using my fork. I'm using my secondary account. So yeah, let's create a pull request. And then of course, let's have a title for it. So updating app title, create a pull request. So now I will ask any of you, hey, Adam, Panos, Ian, Minji, Dan, whoever, could you please review my pull request? So next step is going to your web browser with your account, go to pull request. Obviously, now if I assign me the pull request to anyone, you can assign pull request, guys. You got the reviewer tab here. So I could select someone here, someone else. So once you just create the pull request and you assign it to someone, that person will receive an email. So now we can deal with it. So, we see the pull request. First of all, this is important, guys. This branch has no conflicts. If you receive a pull request and you don't get a message like before, like this branch has conflicts, I wouldn't review the pull request at all. I will go back to the person who created the pull request and I will tell him or her, hey, I'm so sorry, but I'm unable to deal with this pull request because it has a conflict. Please solve the conflict first. And once you solve the conflict, let me know and I will review it again. In this particular case, there are no conflicts. We could obviously reject the pull request and ask for some further changes, but to simplify this already complex workshop, I'm gonna just approve the changes. So yeah, let's assume that we are happy with that. So review changes. Always good to be polite, guys. Thank you. Approve. submit a review. So now once you do that, you can see that that person already approved the pull request. So now back to our secondary account. You see, once the pull request has been approved, we can essentially squash and merge to incorporate these changes into the upstream. So when I click squash and merge, so now you see the pull request has been closed. So hopefully, now the changes will be incorporated into the upstream. All right. So you see now I can immediately see that everything went fine, right? Because 18 seconds ago, adding a smiley face to the app title. So that definitely worked as expected. Yeah. And that's pretty much it. That's the way we managed to solve a conflict with Git. Remember one more thing, guys. Even if you are the responsible of creating the pull request, merging, and everything, right after pushing or the changes into the upstream, make sure you run the commands again. I think this is just a healthy exercise, guys. So git fetch upstream master, because there is a new commit, there is new metadata. So git fetch. Wait a minute. Where? This is the right command. Git fetch upstream master. Did I do something wrong? Wait a minute. Maybe I typed the wrong command. So git. Not. Oh, sorry, guys. I easily get confused between these commands. So git fetch upstream. So first of all, see, let's get the metadata. Git checkout master. This is gonna be fine because I'm already a master. And finally, git merge upstream. Yeah? So git merge upstream will download the new commit, because there is a new commit, guys. There is a new commit on the upstream. The commit I've done by merging my stuff. So there is a new commit on the upstream. This is going to be fine because the new commit in the upstream is pretty much the same thing, the same commit I did on my fork. But even in that case, it's important to merge continuously to minimize the chances of having a conflict. Git merge upstream. Once again, git merge upstream, git merge your branch. Oh, okay, sorry, no, that's fine. Saying your branch is up to date with origin master. So then, unless I need to do git merge upstream master. Sorry, guys, git merge upstream master. Just follow the line, follow this guide. I tend to ignore it, and when I ignore it is when I do the silly mistakes. So if you do that from the command line, once again, you see Git is inviting you to commit and push the latest changes from the upstream. So if you are doing this from the command line, you will get this text editor. As I explained on the last week, remember that there are two options. Either you run the command from VS Code, and hopefully VS Code will look after this complexity for you. If you want to use the command line, you just want to accept this commit message. The way to do that is pressing colon and then W to save the changes and Q to exit the editor. And then you can see that Git will show you merge made by recursive strategy, blah, 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 blah. So once we've done that, finally Git push to send the changes to our fork. And then everything is in sync, everything is correct. So I got my local fork in sync with my remote fork, and both are in sync with the upstream. So I managed to complete an integration journey end to end. And now, questions? Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, that's correct. That's interesting. That's interesting. I never use the slash, so yeah, I cannot tell you. So once again, guys, Git has hundreds of commands and probably thousands of shortcuts. So yeah, so git push origin master. That makes a lot of sense to me. Yeah, so that pushes the changes to, well, what that means. I want to use Git. I want to push changes. Origin means that's my fork, and master means I want to push the changes to the master branch. So yeah, everything up to date. You're pushing to the master branch. That's correct. That's correct. What about the slash? I don't know. I don't know. I never used the slash. Git push. Yes, yes, that's right. So when you do git merge upstream slash master, yeah, that's correct. Git merge upstream slash master, and then can we do upstream space master? No, 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 no. I cannot tell you why, to be honest. Yeah, the syntax sometimes is a bit unpredictable. Yeah, yeah, I agree with you. I'm wondering if that's because you don't necessarily have write permissions on the upstream, so you may not know which branches it has. So this is like a special keyword. Upstream master means go to master and get everything from there. However, when you push, because you have write access, I don't know. I just made in that assumption up, so don't fully follow these guidelines, Adam. Yeah, I don't know. You need to get used to the syntax. When you merge, when you incorporate changes from the upstream, you do that. When you push, you use origin space master. Likewise, when you pull, git pull, do that, right? So both pull and push work in that way. First of all, the name of the remote, origin, and then the name of the branch, master. However, when you merge from the upstream, you use the slash alternative. No, that's correct. That's correct. That's correct, Adam. You never, guys, you never do git push upstream master. You should never do that. You should never do that. Because if you do that, that means you are breaking the circuit, right? You are not going through any pull request process. You are incorporating changes into your upstream directly. So you should never do that. You should always push the changes. If you are working on a fork-based model, you should push the changes to your fork. If you are working on a branch-based model, like you've been doing a few times already on Codeflix, then you push the changes to your branch. And regardless of whether you follow one path or the other, eventually the correct way of merging the changes into the main repo is by using a pull request. Anything else, guys? So thank you very much. So that was, to me, I've been dealing with these issues for, I don't know, 9, 10, 11 years, I don't know, and that's still challenging. From time to time, you are likely to have problems with Git. Yeah, that's part of our coding journey. So I cannot tell you any further advice than the more you practice, the less you are likely to have problems. So keep that workshop safe somewhere. So if in the future you got a conflict, at least you should be able to remember the steps to deal with it. Thank you very much, guys. Thanks for watching. See you later.